And even if we all droids, I'm R2. My haters get lightsabers, salam through. I'm a beast on beast, just like Hans Wu. I mean Wookie, sorry, but I be tripping, yo.
Welcome back. This is our second short episode of 6. And this is the G2 podcast, the G Squared podcast. I probably should have said that first, but hey, who knows? There's no script here. And I got somebody with me, my lovely co-host. Who are you?
I'm Gonzalez.
And I am Jay Gonzalez, aka He Who Pods. Now that that's over with, let's get right into our topic. Today's topic, this episode's topic, is The Mandalorian Season 3. We just did Guardians 3 and now we're doing Mandalorian Season 3. That's interesting. Mandalorian Season 3 was really interesting because it was less about Grogu and quote-unquote Mando and more about the Mandalorians as a whole, as a people, as a community. And we start to see that happening little by little throughout the season. And so the season starts with Mando being sent on a journey so he can rep being a Mandalorian again, because he broke one of the biggest rules, which is he has removed his helmet. People have seen his face, and this is against his beliefs, against the beliefs of being a Mandalorian. So the Forger, I think is her name, the leader of their group, tells him if he wants to still be a Mandalorian and do things with the community, with the clan, he must go back to planet Mandalore and do one of several things. And he sets out. He takes Grogu and takes off to do that. Before he can do that, his old friend, who was once his old enemy, has taken over a planet and is trying to run things and create new communities, but they were attacked by pirates as he was trying to go there to get some help. And the guy needed help too. It's supposed to be like favor for a favor kind of thing. He wanted Mando to be their sheriff. And Mando said no. In the midst of that, they get attacked by pirates and a bunch of stuff happens. And so we'll come back to that. And so they go and they do their thing. And we meet a character who we've seen plenty of times before. We saw her on the Rebels TV show. We saw her before that on the Clone Wars TV show. And now last season in season 2, we saw her brought into real life TV instead of just animated series. And we meet, do you know her name?
Bo-Katan.
Oh, you good, girl. That's 2 for 2.
If I like them, I'm gonna know what it is.
Hey, all right. So we revisit I'm saying this wrong. Last season, they brought in Bo-Katan into the real life Star Wars universe and not just the animated stuff. Yes?
Her full name is Bo-Katan Kryze.
Okay, good job. And we don't need that part, but Bo-Katan. So we meet Bo-Katan, and if you watch Mandalorian, you already know about her backstory. They told us a little bit about her last season. If you watch any of this Star Wars stuff, you know her real story we learn in Clone Wars, who knows what season, but who cares? If you look it up, I'm sure you can find it. And so Bo-Katan is alone on planet Mandalore. The last time we saw her, she had a squad with her, a small squad that she was in charge of. But Mando goes and visits. She's in her palace, a palace we saw way back in Clone Wars. We get to see it in real life. And she's there, sitting on a throne in an empty palace, basically. And Mando says, I need help. I got to do this. I got to do that. And so we see her kind of help Grogu and... Huh?
I swear I heard something running. Like,
yeah? That was interesting. It's not going to come this way, most likely. It usually goes that way. Bo-Katan ends up teaming up with Mando, and we see her help Mando do some stuff on Mandalore. She goes back with Mando, and a bunch of stuff happens this season. With Bo-Katan, she becomes kind of the leader of not that clan, but she helps bring multiple clans together. Clan that she was a part of, she goes and finds, brings them into the fold along with some other ones. And then later, they kind of unite. And what else happens? Oh, they go back to Mandalore to kind of retake the planet, and we find a lot of things going on there. She finds some old group members, clan members that she believed had died, and then we find out that oh man, what's his name? I'm doing bad right now.
I'm blanking on his name.
Oh, we'll be right back after a message from Google.
Oh, I was gonna search it. Okay.
Moff Gideon.
Ooh, look at that.
So when they get to Mandalore and they try to get things together and they meet up with all these other people, they are ambushed by some warriors, and it's really, really interesting because the thought is like how they knew they was coming. And so it seems like there is a snitch, there is someone feeding information to Moff Gideon from within. You say no? What's that mean? Two snitches? We get back to you. It seems like someone is feeding information to Moff Gideon because Moff Gideon knew they were coming. He had a bunch of troopers ready to attack them, and they had Mandalorian kind of armor on and jetpacks. It was really interesting. They barely escape with their lives, and of course, Mando gets stuck there. And so Mando's captured. Moff Gideon got some super fly armor, lots of things, and the big final finale is they come back with reinforcements, and they try to shut down Moff Gideon's stuff. We get to see Grogu in action. And, oh yeah, I skipped an important part. Grogu is officially a foundling. That means he is a baby within the clan of the Mandalorians. And we see him do a little bit of training. And we see him get an upgrade to his armor. And now he has the emblem of the clan on his armor. And he's stepping up little by little. Anyway, big fight with Moff Gideon and Imperial troopers, which I thought was really interesting that he had Imperial troopers, because Imperial troopers, and now this is where we get a little deep into the Star Wars lore, Imperial troopers usually only guard people in super high positions. And so they usually only guard top dogs. And Moff Gideon is not really a top dog, so it's kind of interesting. We also see a meeting, round table sort of meeting via hologram, with a bunch of other people who are militant and clearly used to be part of part of the Empire. And so we see that they probably were people who were taking orders from either Tarkin or Lord Darth Vader. I don't know why I said Lord Darth Vader, but Darth Vader, whatever. There's people who are still alive. And you see there's like a big thing happening because they're each speaking about their imperial armies or the imperial people they command. Translation, they're smaller versions of the imperial army that are still together and are taking orders from each of the people in the round table meeting. And Moff Gideon is supposed to be the person in charge of this sector in their little group. And so I think that's really interesting. And yes, I think that tells us that Admiral Thrawn is coming back. One other thing that was really interesting about the season, this is all just reporting. I'll give you my thoughts in a second. One other thing I thought was interesting is we learn about cloning in this season. And there's a big focus on cloning and how we can clone in different ways. And we see that it looks like Moff Gideon wants to clone Grogu, or at least mix some of his genetics with human genetics to create a kind of super person. And you see Moff Gideon was cloning himself a bunch of different times to try to create this superior person, so to speak. It was an interesting season. I don't think it was the best season. I think it took a dip down for storytelling. And so there was a lot of storytelling, not a lot of action, in my opinion. Nothing in this season was kind of super fly to me until the end. They teased that the huge creature that lives underneath Mandalore, the one that's on the emblem.
Mythosaur.
Thank you. Yo, you on fire, girl. The Mythosaur was living in the, beneath the surface of the planet. We never saw it. Yeah?
In under the mines and the waters.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We saw that early in the season, like episode 2 or 3. Never saw it come out. That was a bad tease. You should have let me seen it. There's a lot of things that are interesting, and it's kind of like they're slowly cooking this season. But I feel like we never got the full meal. I feel like all we got was a little taste of the food. When the food's almost ready and grandma calls you in, she says, come here, taste this. I feel like that's all we got was a little taste at the end. And I'm curious about where's the rest. And so Grogu is officially adopted, and that's cool. I thought he was already officially adopted. I didn't know we needed to have the official. But apparently we did. And so he is now officially recognized as Grogu is officially Mando's son. His name is Din Djarin, and so now Grogu took on part of his name. Who cares? And so now Grogu has to go and learn and get experience to become a Mandalorian. But we still see him using a lot of force powers. And so I'm curious what's going to happen here. I feel like they kind of answered what I wanted them to answer last season, which is what's going to happen with Grogu. But I feel like he's still using a lot of force powers, probably mostly using force powers more than anything else. And so is he still going to do some Jedi stuff, or is he going to fully be a Mandalorian? How's that going to work? Is he going to have weapons, or will his weapon be the Force? Well, I don't know. And so that's really it. I think that the season was cool. Unity within the Mandalorians is cool. They're trying to rebuild Mandalore. They're trying to bring more and more of the remaining clans that are in hiding together. That's cool, but what for? What they going to do? That's my question. Was there going to be some big war that the Mandalorians are a part of? Does this have to do with the new empire that rises? I forgot the name, but one something. No, you remember?
What?
The ones that are like the Empire in the new movies. The First Order. I didn't even need to Google it. The First Order. So it was the Republic. They were taken over by the Empire. And then the rebels overthrew the Empire. Then you had the New Republic. And the New Republic was pretty much taken down or barely surviving in the new films because they were getting overthrown by the First Order. And so is this going to have something to do with the First Order? Are the Mandalorians going to be part of this bigger story? Because they already announced there's new Star Wars movies coming out later in that part of the timeline. I think it's really cool that Mandalorian and everything that's coming from it, all the spin-offs are part of this like middle section. What happens between movie 6 and movie 7. But what's going to happen? What's the point of bringing all these people together? I'm cool with it, but I feel like, okay, so what's next? Clearly Admiral Thrawn is coming back. I don't know if Moff Gideon died. I hope he did. I love the actor, but we don't really need more Moff Gideon, in my opinion. 3 seasons is enough. And I guess I'm also curious, how is Ahsoka's story going to be weaved into this? Because we know the Ahsoka show is coming very soon. And so I'm just curious to see how they do that. That's it for me. What are your thoughts on the season?
I got very little to say.
I'm sorry, they can't hear you over there. You want to speak up just a bit?
I got very little to say.
All right, well, say it.
Dislike the show in general.
This season.
Okay. Parts of it were good, parts of it were bad. I feel like we got to see Bo-Katan like change throughout the season and like develop more of like a leader personality.
Yes.
And I think it was very obvious who the different like spies were.
Okay, who do you think they are?
I think one is the guy with
What
the
guy?
ship, the one that took the ship down.
Okay.
I can't remember his name. And then the girl. The one with the braids.
Okay. So you think the people who used to be part of her group.
Yeah, because when they were fighting, they weren't really fighting. They were kind of just fighting to make it. It kind of looked like it was forced, like not like the rest of them, where they were trying to actually save their lives. It looked like they had planned this. Well, at least that's what it looked like to me. It looked like they had planned it to like happen.
Mm-hmm.
I guess. Yeah. And then I didn't like how my man died. What's his name?
Oh, the big guy.
Listen.
Let me find his name for you. Hold on.
Listen. It's my guy right there.
Very good. Paz Vizsla.
Woo, look at me.
You on fire, girl. She's on fire.
But yeah, I didn't like how he died. I didn't appreciate that. He's my guy. Like, why y'all had to kill him? Can't y'all kill somebody else or something?
Right.
I know the guy's name starts with the A. I think it's Axel or something. I can't tell you what the girl's name starts with.
It looks like the girl is Cosca Reeves.
Mm-hmm.
And the dude...
I know his name. I think his name starts with A. Axel something.
Oh, I don't even know. It don't look like he's on this list I'm looking at. I mean, it's not that serious, girl. He's not a big character.
Fair, but he isn't technically kind of important. Anyways,
Oh yeah, this don't really help. You would have to know the guy's name.
let me see. Let's see if the A is on right now. Oh, Axe Wolves, right there.
Okay, good job.
Look at me. I know faces. I don't know names, but if I know the name, but yeah.
Good job.
Yeah, it looked like Axe and the girl it seemed very obvious to me that they were the spies.
Okay.
But Axe, I think is true. That's my belief. I think he is very obvious. He's one of them.
Okay.
The girl, it's like iffy.
Mm-hmm.
Because there are certain things I'm like, but she wouldn't do that if she was on their side. But then I'm like, but why would she do that if she's not on their side? But if it's not her, it's definitely the Forge. Like the Forger.
You said it right. That's her name.
But definitely, I mean, it could be all three of them, but
Could be all three of them. We don't know.
we don't know.
The only thing we do know is you know everybody's name.
But yeah, it's not really much to say. I feel like if Moth dies, I'm cool with it. Great. Like, I like his character, but I feel like we had too much of him the series. I feel that seeing Bo-Katan and like Grogu like change over time or develop were like important, I guess. I'm trying to think. That's really all I got to say.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
I think that's all I got to say.
All right. So you like what they're doing with Grogu or no?
Yeah.
Okay. You like Bo-Katan being the leader, kind of, or no?
I guess. I don't have much against it.
Okay, so you're cool either way.
Yeah.
You trust the Forger?
No. Never. No.
All right.
Mm-mm.
Then that's it then. Well, we'll see what happens next year or the year after, whenever, probably next year, when season 4 comes out.
Isn't it 2025?
Because we do know season 4 is coming. Huh?
Isn't it 2025?
I don't think they're going to have to wait that long.
Oh, no, it's 2024 somewhere around later, I think.
Yeah, I think it's next year. It looks like, I mean, pretty much they've dropped every year or so. So I wouldn't be surprised if we get a season next year. I don't expect it to be early next year,
Well,
but
probably later, yeah.
we probably get one next year. But I don't know, because I guess it also depends what's going on with Ahsoka.
True.
I don't know how long Ahsoka's going to be, how much of it involves Mando, if any of it involves Mando. I don't know how it's going to work. So I guess we'll see. Any final thoughts? Then we out. See y'all in a bit.